Earlier this week, I challenged myself to watch every single Ryan Gosling movie, and so, I did. I packed up my Xbox, deleted all the games off my phone, and emailed my professors to let them know why I'd be skipping my finals this week. And I proceeded to just take in all the glorious rays of sunshine that just emitted from that man's glorious 60 plus hours of filmography career. And let's just say, I enjoyed just about every minute of it. So I want to preface this by saying a few things. First of all, as many of you know, I am wrapping up my film degree here, so everything I say is objectively truth. My opinions, they're not opinions, they're statements of fact. If you have a problem with that, you're wrong. If you have a problem with something I say, you're wrong. This is basically an official ranking of his career. Second, I'm only including the movies that, he was a prominent figure in, so the types of movies that you would walk away and be like, wow, Ryan Gosling was really good in that movie. Wow, Ryan Gosling was so handsome in that movie. Not the ones where you're like, oh wow, Ryan Gosling had a cameo. If something doesn't appear on this list, then that's probably why. So I'm going to rate these on a few different criteria. First of which is overall quality of the movie. Next is enjoyability, whether I enjoyed the movie. Like I said, if I didn't enjoy it, no one does. The final criteria is what I like to call the Ryan factor, and it's pretty self-explanatory there. But enough chatter, let's get into the meat. So the first movie I want to just get out of the way real quick is Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049, or Blade Runner 2069 as I like to call it. And let's just say this movie was just brilliant. It met every single criteria I had, and the Ryan factor was out the wazoo, so that's an easy S tier. Next movie, Blue Valentine, just didn't like it. That's a D. Another fun movie, Nice Guys here. That was an overall really enjoyable movie. It was kind of different from, the rest of the movies in that Ryan Gosling played a different character than I think you're used to. Normally you see Ryan Gosling and you think, wow, I would love to just bang that man all night long. But in this case, he was kind of, a disappointment and a failure. And so that was kind of refreshing. But at the same time, it didn't really meet the Ryan factor because of that quality. So I'm giving it an A, but it's close to an S. Now remember the Titans. This is kind of a tricky one because he wasn't in it for too long. However, the Ryan factor was definitely there. So I'm tempted to put it up as an A. However, because he only was featured in it for a brief stint, I would say, and didn't play an extremely prominent role, I'm just gonna put it as a B. So here's a little interesting one that not a lot of people know about. It's called The Believer, in which he plays like a Jewish Nazi. And I think that's just a brilliant idea. Honestly, the movie, wasn't super huge fan of it, but I just love the concept. Next one, First Man or whatever it's called. It's based on the moon landing, which just didn't happen, so it's a completely fictional piece, so giving it a D. Gangster Squad was an interesting one because, it's Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, which is, anytime they share the screen together, I absolutely love it. However, the film was just purely crap, so I'm gonna have to give it a C. Now here, The Big Short, that's one of my favorite ones. I just watched this one last night, so it's very, very fresh in my mind. And this was a really interesting one because the story was really, really compelling. But at the same time, the Ryan factor, it was intense. He wasn't exactly a super lovable character. He was kind of a tool, but at the same time, you just felt something there. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one an A. It wasn't perfect, I feel like in order for it to be an S tier, it has to be a really, really great movie, or, feature some really, really good romantic scenes with Ryan Gosling that just make you feel something down under. So I'm going to give it an A. Now speaking of feeling something down under, Lars and the Real Girl, or whatever the crap is called, where he has like a dollar or something like that. Not a fan. Doesn't meet any of the Ryan factors. That's an easy D. So I'm just going to bust through a couple of these other ones that aren't that great. This one, what's it called, Death by Numbers or something like that. I'll give it a C. It was alright. Song to Song, it was alright. C. United States Leyland, it was pretty crap. D. Just too indie for me. Not a fan. Didn't meet any of the Ryan factor. Just wasn't there. Didn't feel it. And like I said, if you have a problem with this list, you're wrong. Now coming to a fun one here, Drive. This was a really entertaining one because it was completely different than any of the other ones. Ryan Gosling, he relies a lot on his looks and his words especially, but this one he barely said like 2 words in the entire film. Yet, the Ryan factor, it was still extremely prevalent. Are you kidding me? This is one of the best films on this list. Go watch it right now. Easy S tier. Now this one here, Half Nelson, it's an interesting one because the story's pretty compelling, but at the same time, it's like too freaking weird for me, dude. I didn't care for it. It's just boring, dude. It's a C. You know, I feel like I was too harsh. It was a pretty good story. I'll give it a B. And I'm trying not to give away too many spoilers here because, you know, a lot of people are probably going to be watching this list to, you know, decide which movies to watch, even though I would strongly recommend you watch them all. Because in all honesty, let's be real here. A D tier Ryan Gosling movie is like an A tier of any other actor, so go watch them all. But I digress. Now, Crazy Stupid Love, this was another fun one in which he played kind of like a tool character, and, you know, he plays it well. I mean, it doesn't meet all of the Ryan factors, just because in order to be a real Ryan factor movie, you have to like him and stuff, and not that you don't like him in this movie, but at the same time, he was kind of a tool. But he also starred with Steve Carell and Emma Stone, and like I said, I love me some Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling action, so I'm putting it up here as an A. So the Ides of March, it's too political for me, that's a C. Alright, so now this one is called Lost River, or The Lost River, or something like that. This one's different from all the rest because he doesn't star in it. I don't even know if he has a cameo. I don't think so. I didn't pay that close attention to it. He just directed it. And so obviously the Ryan factor was not all there because you never got to see his face, which is, you know, the real moneymaker. Let's be real here. And to be honest, it wasn't that great of a movie. It was pretty crap and a little boring, and it's a D tier. Stick to acting. Alright, here's another easy one. Stay. It's supposed to be like kind of super deep and stuff where he's like a he's like a patient of some sort because he's got all sorts of mental crazy stuff going on, but it's just a C tier. It's not that great at all. Honestly, it should be a D tier. I'm feeling generous here though because you kind of feel bad for him at the same time, so a little bit of Ryan factor, and you know, he's young in it, which is definitely a plus. But I would say, I would make the argument that Ryan Gosling is like a fine wine that just gets better with age. Now the Slaughter Rule, I'm putting it on a B tier just because, you know, it's similar to Remember the Titans just because it's also a football movie, but it wasn't as good, but not a C tier for sure. It was still enjoyable, and there was definitely some Ryan factor in there, let me tell you that much. Alright, The Place Beyond the Pines, I was told by Stoops if I don't put this as an S, then I'm basically retarded, so. Alright, Only God Forgives. This one was kind of cool just because you got to see a little bit of Ryan that you don't always see. A very intense, very violent, you know, vengeful guy, so there's a little bit of Ryan factor there, but at the same time the story was just lacking, so I'm gonna give it a C. Okay, so this one here pains me. All Good Things has had such good potential, you know, any romantic movie with Ryan Gosling, it's just about perfect. Except this movie, the story was just so crap and filled with cliches, dude, like honestly, what the gerb are you guys doing? But there was a lot of Ryan factor there, so I'm gonna give it a B. Fracture, it was a good enough story, but there was no Ryan factor at all. It's a D. Alright, now I've saved two of the most popular ones here for last, La La Land and The Notebook. I'm going to start with La La Land just to make you guys wait till the end for The Notebook. But let me give you an unpopular opinion here, right? La La Land, it was cool. Great story, great visuals. It was great. Except it was a musical, so that automatically, But Ryan factor, oh dear lord, was it through the roof. But he liked jazz, so, However, here's the issue. Going back to the second point of criteria here, enjoyment. I enjoy this movie an extreme amount up until the very end. Here's the thing, dudes. My biggest issue with this is the massive plot hole that just cuts right through this movie. If you're dating Ryan Gosling, there's no way you're gonna break up with him. And because of that, I'm putting it as a D, just because that plot hole was so freaking huge, okay? Emma Stone, I love you, but good lord, are you special here, I swear. So the final movie here, The Notebook. Let me tell you, boys and girls, this one, I watch this at least once a year on Valentine's Day when I'm sitting alone in my room just eating cookie dough, chilling with Ryan Gosling. And this is by far his greatest movie ever. I'm putting it as an S tier. I don't care what you guys say about the plot. The Ryan factor, by far the biggest on this list by a landslide, dude. And like the romantic scenes and how many freaking motifs and stuff have become cliche because of this movie. This movie was so brilliant that now in like every other freaking romantic movie there's a kiss in the rain, there's freaking swans in this movie. That's like an automatic bonus right there. This is literally just the best movie ever. I mean, let's be real here, people. I'm about as straight as James Charles is gay, but oh lord, after watching this movie, what I would do for just a little bit of time with Ryan Gosling. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. Actually, I don't care. It was very informative. You just learned a frick ton today about what movies are good and what aren't. But at the end of the day, they're all Ryan Gosling movies, so they're all near perfect. Except La La Land. Frick that movie, dude.